All right, folks, it's 10 a.m. We'll go ahead and get started here. And first of all, welcome to all of you. Thanks for coming to the Zoom session. And we'll just be going through the syllabus today, and I'll be answering any questions anybody has about the course. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So let's go through the syllabus here. As far as response time goes, I'm pretty good about answering emails, and I'll do so fairly quickly, usually within a couple of hours. Now, I've sent you an email about the book. The required textbook is just a survival guide. Has anybody tried to get it from the bookstore yet? No, nobody's tried to get it from the bookstore? Okay. You can print it, and you can see it here in the table of contents, survival guide files. Download these or buy the hard copy. So you can print it from here. You don't even have to print it if you don't want to. You can also just look at it on the screen. It's PDF files. That's all it is. Now I've got these recommended books, and that's a Zumdal book. Now, for some reason, the bookstore had it listed as required. I know for a fact that I told them it was recommended, but you know that the bookstore gets its own. Well, they have their own way of doing things, and they definitely want things required, so they sell them. So that's the reason I think it was listed as required. But just keep that in mind, that it's just a recommended thing. I'd still recommend getting an older edition of it, and you can pick those up for under $20 from other places, but I can't mention. Think about a long river in South America. All right. Any questions so far? All right, you all can hear me, right? Okay. So there is an equipment requirement. Yeah, you're going to need a PC or Mac and a webcam compatible with HonorLock. You can try out the HonorLock practice exam, which is over here on the table of contents, and just make sure that everything you have works with it. I know that it doesn't work with. I know it doesn't work with iPads. So iPad computer type things. So just keep that in mind. All right, what else have we got? So there really isn't an attendance policy per se, because this is an online course. What I'm looking for is just really people doing what they need to do, participating really, just doing the quizzes, sending me emails if there's any problems, that kind of thing. Okay, let's talk about. All right, so let's talk about these Zoom problem-solving sessions. Now, during these problem-solving sessions, I'm not going to be doing any lecturing per se. Basically, what I'll be doing is going over the same kinds of problems as you'll be going over in the assessments. So the idea would be that you would read through the material yourself, generally by looking at the soft chalk exercises that are in each module. Those are going to be interactive exercises. I'll show you one here so you can get an idea of what they look like. So we've got our test 1 folders here, and it's going to be set up as these different modules. Oops, let's go to module 1 here. And what you'll see in module 1 is this module 1 soft chalk. That would be my starting point to go through the material. And you can see that as you go through it, what you'll have is these interactive quizzes. And these will enable you to check your work and make sure you're understanding what you're doing as you go. Occasionally, you'll also see links to videos. Let's see if I can find one of those. There we go. So this one has a link to a video. Please watch the video to see this in action, and it'll link you to a YouTube video. Some of these videos are also listed in the actual module folder itself. But that's why I like soft chalk, is because it puts everything together. all in one place. And I still see this as being the most valuable resource for you to go through as you're going through the modules and learning the material. Does anybody have any questions or concerns so far? Okay.
I'm sorry, Professor, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm logged in a little bit late. I just got off. I was wondering what you said about the books. I did purchase the hard book and the manual, but is the hard book required?
No, it's recommended. Did you get a new copy of the book?
I got
Well, how
I
much
think
did you pay for it? That's a better.
55.
55?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is it the latest edition or an earlier edition?
It's the 9th edition. I don't know if you can see my
Oh, I
video.
can see it. Yeah.
This is the one I got. But I also purchased a manual, but I'm sorry I logged in a few seconds late.
No, it's okay. The book is recommended. It's not required. 55 isn't too bad. I mean, I have an objection to people spending $350 on a new copy.
Thank you.
That upsets me. But if you wanted to, did you get it from the bookstore, the SPC bookstore?
I got it from Amazon.
Okay, fair enough. No, it's a good it's a decent book. It's a good secondary resource. It's not the main thing I'll be using.
Yeah, I saw the soft chalk. I started some of my assignments. Was very useful last night when I was going through it.
Well, it's right on point is what you'll find.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas you'll find that the textbook is worth having just so that you can have something else to look at other than what I have. And, you're buying it, right? Not renting it.
I did buy it because I'm going into a CRNA program, so I thought it would be a little useful. But I just wanted to know your thoughts.
Yeah, and then you can keep it for the rest of your life, and you can read it when you're 50 or whatever.
All right.
Now, can you all see my screen? I did good. All right. I would have hated to be going through this screen sharing stuff and saying, "Oh, I'm doing all this stuff." All right. So, any questions about soft chalk? I just want to see how many people we've got right now. Okay.
There was one thing I did in soft chalk yesterday that I just wasn't understanding, but I'll email it to you.
Okay, but we can talk about that at the end as well.
Okay.
Any content related questions, I'll be more than happy to go over it after we go over the syllabus.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Oops, I can't do that. Let me see what I can do about. I'm just trying to minimize this. Okay. So going back to the syllabus here.
We're needing to be seeing your screen, sir.
Oh, you don't?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. That's a problem. Okay. Oh, it looks like I have to go back to that. Sorry about that. All right, thank you. I'm still getting used to Zoom, and it's just it's a little strange at times to me. Okay. So you all can see the screen now, right? Okay.
Yes.
So these Zoom problem solving sessions, as I said, the main focus will be on solving problems. I mean, I'll have problems prepared that I'll go through, problems from both the assignment and the practice quiz and the credit quiz. Those kinds of problems will be my main focus during those sessions. But you'll get more out of them if you've done some of the reading and gone through the soft chalks first. And then you can sort of work along with me as I do the problems. And I have a whiteboard that I'll share on the screen and show you how I'm doing the problems through there. And that'll be the main thing I'll be doing in the problem solving sessions. And as you can see, this is in the syllabus. What I'm covering in each of the problem solving sessions is going to be here. Now, I do know I've got my next one set up for next Monday. I know it's a holiday, but attendance is optional. If you can't attend, you can always you can always just watch the recording, because I will record it as well. I do apologize for putting it on a holiday, but there's I've got other classes that I'm doing this week as well, and I didn't really feel I could move it around. But that's what we're doing next week. So it'll be modules 1 and 2 are what I will be covering on next Monday's session. Now they're fairly easy modules. I think you can get through most of it by looking at the soft chalk. If you have any concerns, you can also email them to me and be more than happy to answer them by email. I'll also be happy to talk to you on the phone as well, if need be. But most of the time, I can usually get the problem solved by email. So what I want to do is I want to go back to each of these modules and just show you what's in them, because they're pretty much all set up the same. Now remember that this is all set up in test folders. So you see we've got test 1 here, test 2, and the modules they contain as well. So I'll go to module 1 here, and you'll see that we have some links to different things here. I've also got some video tutorials. These are the same video tutorials that are linked to in the soft chalks. And now here you've got, I'm in the student view of the course here. I have the module 1 assignment and the module 1 practice quiz here. That's what you'll see. You'll see the due dates are below as well. And you can also catch the due dates by looking at the My Courses calendar, which can be accessed up here on this link. Now, to help you with the assignment is unlimited attempts, but it doesn't show you what the answers are when you submit it. However, there is a link here to video answers to the Module 1 assignment, which goes through each and every Module 1 assignment question and shows you exactly how to do them. So if you're having trouble getting the right answers on the assignment, I'd recommend you watch the video. Now, if we look at something like Module 3, you'll see the same setup. We've got the Module 3 assignment here, and then the Module 3 practice quiz. I'll go through that in a second. And here in the Module 3 video tutorials folder, you'll see the assignment problems. And you can see each of those has a link to a video that goes through and shows the assignment and shows the assignment question and how it's set up and how it's done from the very beginning to the very end. I'll just show you an example of one just so you can see it. No, so you get the idea there. It just goes through and shows how to do the problems and what the final answers look like. So you can easily solve the assignments by looking at the videos if you're having trouble with any of the specific problems. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Professor, would you be able to go to the first test, but the second set of assignments, the assignment video that goes over the answers, it wasn't working.
Which one was this?
Module 2.
Module 2 wasn't working.
I was able to figure it out. I was struggling with one of them, but for some reason I couldn't get the video to play last night.
This video here, huh?
It just said video unavailable, but it could have just been me. I tried it on 2 different laptops.
Ah,
yeah.
No. All right. I will. I'll look into that, and I'll get the link fixed. I don't know why it's unavailable.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, but most of them do work. Don't get me. Don't be too concerned about it. But yeah, I will definitely look into that. All right. Let's see what else we have here. I'll go back to Module 1 here. So I told you about the assignment, and here we've got the practice quiz. Now, as you can see, it says you need 80% on this quiz to access the credit quiz. So the idea is that you'll do the practice quiz, which can be done unlimited times. It shows you the answers. It's always the same questions. So if you're concerned about formatting, because you might be in, say, module 3. Let's open that one. And I will show you a preview of the quiz here. So it's a fair concern here. You might be wondering, well, how do I put the stuff in here to make sure that it gets marked correctly? And you don't want to be spending, hours doing attempts trying to figure out how I want things. So one option that you can have is just to see what the formatting is. There's nothing to stop you just going to the bottom here, hitting submit, and then seeing the answers. And what do you know? There they are, right? And then you'll know exactly how I want it set up, what the acceptable answers are going to be. Now, I want you to realize that the answers are what's within the parentheses. The parentheses aren't part of the answer. Sometimes I'll see people try and put parentheses in their answers as well. And those parentheses just don't belong there. They will be marked wrong if they're present. But these are the correct answers that go within those boxes. So that'll give you an idea of what I'm looking for. So think of this quiz as being format training. So to give you an idea of what I'm looking for in the actual credit quiz and the kinds of questions you're going to also see in the credit quiz. So you'll notice here that it comes back and shows you the attempts. You can actually access those attempts later as well. I'll show you how to do that. You can go to quizzes, and you'll see the quiz link here. And you'll be able to click on this and see the submissions. Just see that little black down arrow, and just click on the submissions. Then you can see the submissions later on. You don't have to just look at them at the end after you've done it. All right, does anybody have any questions so far? So once you've done that and you've got an 80% on the practice quiz, what will happen is the credit quiz will open below it, and you'll get 2 attempts at that. And that's what will go for your grade for that particular piece of homework. All right, any questions so far? Let's take a look at the grade book. So this is the grade book as you see it. And this is the thing that I would definitely look at to know what I've done and what I haven't done. And then you can look at the grades and you can get an idea, oh, I've attempted that, I haven't attempted it. And then you'll know exactly what needs to get done for each thing. All the stuff is due at the same time for each test. So it's not a rolling thing within each test. So everything's going to be due on 11:59 p.m. of the night before the test. Does anybody have any questions so far? All right, let's take a look. Go back to course content here. Okay, so we're in test, this is the test 1 folder. And you can see what's going to be here in the top of the folder. I've got a test 1 study guide, which gives you an idea of the kinds of questions you're going to see on the actual test. There they are there. And which modules they come from. I've got the format guide here as well. And this will enable you to see what the questions look like. Oh, actually, you know what? That's not going to be relevant to you. That's because you're not taking a pen and paper test here. So I'm not going to worry about that. That's not going to be relevant. In fact, I'm probably going to hide that. What's going to be of real interest to you is this practice test 1. Now, practice test 1 and test 1 are actually the same thing. The difference is practice test 1 is for practice. test 1 is something you'll only get one attempt at, and that one is the one administered under honor lock. The practice test isn't administered under honor lock, but there is extra credit associated with it. So if you get more than 80% on practice test 1, you can get some extra credit to go along with your grade. So I'll just open practice test 1 so you can see it. But I want you to be assured that test 1 is identical. It's just that what's going to happen is that the practice test has questions that are going to have different numbers, different compounds each time you open it and take it, which is why it's good practice. But you'll also notice that the reference sheets are also incorporated within the test itself. So you don't need to have those printed next to you. In fact, I don't want you to have anything printed. You'll just be doing the test as it is here. So obviously, doing the practice test, you can do it unlimited times. I would just do it as many times as you need to do it to make sure that you're successful when you take a real one. But I want you to be assured it's the same thing. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, that's really important. I just want to make sure everybody understands that. Okay.
Professor Richard,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
have a question.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment we are taking the test and the final, whatever this test is on the honor look.
Mm-hmm.
So we can use at the extra period table, for example, physical, or we will have this table in the
No, you'll have the same. You'll have exactly the same information as you have in the practice test.
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
So you can see it here. How
So
I
we
have
don't need it. We don't need it. The extra period table. Okay.
No.
I gotcha.
Now,
Okay,
everything you need will be within the test. There are some. Let's see. I've tried to make it to. Let me show you something. See how I've got these conversion sheet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's above the questions that need it.
Oh, okay, cool. So we will have all information we needed in the test.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it for that.
Yeah. And, that's why it's so useful to go through and do the practice test so you can actually treat it like the real test.
Yeah, this is important. I'm a little bit confused because I say, okay, we need to know. And, some professor never incorporate this information in the test for many reasons. I don't know, but this is awesome. Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
good.
That.
All right. Okay, so I'm just going to, and of course, when you submit it, it'll show you the answers too. So you'll know exactly what you got wrong, what you got right. And, but it gives you different, that's the thing, it gives you different questions each time, right? So it's not the same thing every single time. So you'll do it, I would just recommend just doing it. I do it open book maybe twice, and then I would just do closed book until I was getting at least 90% every time I took it. And then, there's no way that you can fail. If you're getting 90% closed book on the practice test, I don't see how you could fail the credit, the actual one that you'll do for under honor lock. It's the same test. The thing is, if you do the practice enough times, you'll see the same questions. You might even get some of the same questions on the actual test you take. All right. So this is how it's set up, and it's set up for all of these. Let's go through I'll just finish going through the grading on the syllabus here. Make sure you understand that. So as I've said, all homework is due 11:59 p.m. And the homework is you can see what's homework in the grade section. That's what I would recommend. Look at the grade section to see exactly what homework is and how much it's worth, because it's going to be very clear there. And that's how you'll know what you've done and what you haven't done as well. So that's the assignments and the credit quizzes. The practice quizzes aren't worth anything. They're just format training. And all the grades will be from the assignments and the credit quizzes for the homework. Then you've also got the online test, which I was just telling you about. And there'll also be a final at the end, which will be a cumulative question set from tests 1 through 4. And then you can exempt the final by getting more than, let's see if I can see this here. Here we go. Whoops, sorry about that. All right, so here's all the grades, and you can actually exempt the final by getting more than 90% from each complete test, which includes the homework and the test. So let's go back and take a look at the grade section here, so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's see, I think it's at the bottom. Here we go. So down here, you'll see this, these are calculated grades. Test 1 total, including homework and extra credit. So if you get more than 90% on all 4 of these, then you can exempt the final with a grade of A. If you have more than 80% on those, then you can exempt the final with a grade of B. If you have less than 80% on any of these tests, you'll need to take the final. The final will replace one of these test grades, the lowest one. And if it isn't, if the final is lower than all those grades, then it just gets averaged in. So when it does replace, though, it counts twice, and then all 5 scores get averaged. And that will allow you to figure out what you'll need. So you can see here what the letter grades are after completing each test. Unfortunately, the way the gradebook is set up, everything gets a 0 at the beginning, so you won't be able to look at your overall grade at the top to get an indication. You'll have to look down here to see what your letter grades are after completing each test. Does anybody have any questions about any of the setups here?
Yes, I know that I see, well, I did some work so far, but I still don't see like a grade in the class yet.
A grade, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
At the way top where
the way top, yeah. here you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not going to be, that's not going to be particularly accurate because, as I said, everything gets a 0 at the beginning because it's a very calculation heavy grade book, and the calculations only work if everything has a 0 at the beginning. So what you'll need to do is just look, I would just look here in each of the tests. Where are we? All of these different grades here to make sure you're doing what you need to be doing. As you can see, anything with test 1 will have T1 next to it. Anything with test 2 will have T2 next to it, etc. And then you've got your tests here. But the main things you'll be looking at, and you should see grades here in this total, test 1 total, including homework and extra credit. That'll give you a running grade of how much you've completed. And then it'll give you a complete score at the end of it once you've taken that test. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I know it's a bit of a pain not having the overall grade at the very top here, but I do have other ways of showing you that. But it really only matters after you've completed the test anyway. Now, going back to the test, I haven't put a start date on it. All I've put is an end date. So you could actually do this test any time. You only get one attempt at it. That's why I recommend doing the practice test multiple times first. But you see, it says ends June 3rd at 11:59 p.m. So you can do it any time up to that point. If you're comfortable, you could do it tomorrow. But and I don't recommend it yet. I would just be prepared to go through all the modules first before obviously doing that test. That's the one that counts. That's the one that goes into the grade book.
For that, Professor, that's a awesome flexibility tool. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any other questions? I've pretty much gone through everything I wanted to go through here. I don't know if I missed anything, but if I did, does anybody have any questions or concerns that they want to go through now? All right, well, I'll check out that Module 2 video and make sure I can fix the link to it. I don't know why it's not working, but I will I'll work on that after I get off here. If anybody has any other questions that they want to go through, please email me, let me know. I will get back to you as quickly as I possibly can about anything that you email me, and we'll go from there. All right, any last questions? All right, well, I really appreciate you coming and sitting in on the Zoom session, and good luck in the course, and don't be a stranger. Talk to me if you have any concerns.
Thank you so much,
Right.
Professor Richard.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Goodbye to all of you.